On 25th May 2022, the PDM government tried to crush PTI's call for a long march and used force to stop people from coming out to exercise their democratic right to protest. There was heavy shelling to disperse protesters, their cars were destroyed, and they were beaten and detained illegally for coming out to join the march. 2 PTI workers were killed because of this unlawful outrage against the marchers. Imrankhan had to call off the march to stop further bloodshed. Pakistan's leading investigative journalist Arshad Sharif is targeted and threatened for exposing the corruption of the elites and the conspiracy behind the regime change operation. He was brutally murdered in Kenya on October 23, 2022. There has been no progress on his case and he still awaits justice. On 3 November 2022, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imrankhan, was shot in an assassination attempt in Wazirabad, Punjab during the Azadi March. A PTI supporter was killed and many others were injured, including some PTI leaders. The shooter's statement was covered by the state media on national TV within few hours of the incident, where he could be seen changing statements to make it look more like a religious hate crime. In March 2023, more than 2,100 PTI social media activists, party workers and supporters were abducted during a nationwide crackdown on Imran Khan's party. These also included children and women. They were illegally detained and their families were harassed and threatened. On August 11, 2022, Shehbaz Gill's driver's wife was arrested along with her minor child for the purpose of collecting evidence. The baby was kept without her mother, denying her the fundamental rights of a minor. The 10-month-old baby's heart-wrenching cries for her mother went viral and there was huge criticism from the people as well as the party leadership. On 8 March 2023, just few hours before PTI's rally, the caretaker government of Punjab, which is known to be a puppet of the current government, imposed Section 144 in Lahore to ban all kinds of political activities. This was after the permission had already been granted for a peaceful rally, which is a democratic right of every citizen. The police unleashed brutal tear gas, water cannons, and rubber bullets on any peaceful protesters who tried to gather for the rally and arrested several PTI workers and supporters. In March 2023, a special needs person, Ali Bilal, was brutally tortured to death in police custody after being abducted from Lahore, where he was peacefully protesting. His body was thrown in front of the hospital in Lahore. The police tried to cover this up by calling it an accident, but his post-mortem report confirmed that he died of excessive bleeding after being subjected to brutal torture and a fatal blow on his head. Starting 14 March 2023, Pakistani authorities launched a full-scale attack on Imran Khan's Lahore residence to arrest him illegally, even after he submitted a signed guarantee that he will appear in an Islamabad court. The security forces fired heavy tear gas and attacked the workers and supporters with water cannons and rubber bullets to disperse the crowd outside Zaman Park. The siege went on for 2 days before the operation finally halted. On 18 March 2023, former Prime Minister Imran Khan set out to appear in a court in Islamabad, complying with judicial orders. His caravan was blocked at multiple points and he was stopped from reaching the judicial complex along with his caravan. There was heavy shelling around the complex for hours. Imran Khan faced intense resistance from the police, and unidentified men were seen at the complex awaiting his arrival. This all seemed like a conspiracy to assassinate him and make it look like an accident. On 18 March 2023, police attacked Imran Khan's Zaman Park residence in his absence. The police stormed his Lahore residence without presenting any search warrant and against clear orders from the court. They broke the front gate with heavy machinery, beat the workers, and arrested several of them illegally. During the raid, they destroyed his personal belongings and took multiple items from his house, including food items and things belonging to the house help. Imran Khan was illegally arrested from the Islamabad High Court premises on 9 May 2023 when paramilitary troops stormed into the High Court to abduct him, taking him away to an unknown location. His lawyers, who witnessed the entire debacle, later showed how they were all pepper sprayed as the troops broke into the room by breaking the windows. They were beaten up, Imran Khan hit on the head as they forced him off the chair and violently pulled him away and dragged him. On 9th May 2023, a false flag operation was orchestrated to defame and trap PTI. Without any investigation, the government started a brutal nationwide crackdown on the PTI leadership and its workers and supporters. There are numerous videos showing evidence of how unknown men infiltrated peaceful protests and incited people on violence. PTI leader Dr. Yasmin Rashid, who was leading the rally in Lahore, can be heard instructing people to stay peaceful and not to enter any state buildings. Women faced the worst clampdown and brutality to discourage their political participation. The security forces were seen humiliating, beating, and dragging them by their hair for coming out for peaceful protests. Hundreds of women are languishing in different jails in terrible conditions without any access to their families. These include elderly aged 80 plus and mothers of really young children. Women also revealed that police kept asking them why they dared come out of their homes, discouraging them to participate in any political activities, which is their democratic right. Using 9th May protests as an excuse, the government abducted many PTI leaders and forced them to leave the party. No proof was found against any PTI leader inciting people on violence and vandalism, and without any investigation, they were abducted and detained illegally. The courts would release them when presented in front of the judge, but the moment they would come out, they were abducted again. They were only set free on the condition of leaving PTI and announcing the departure through a scripted press conference condemning the events of 9th May. Many leaders were seen crying in these scripted press conferences, saying that they have a daughter or a son to take care of, signaling that their life was in danger, due to which they were forced to leave the party. A renowned journalist, Imrankhan, was abducted for a third time on 11th May 2023 from the airport. He has been missing for over a month now, and even after repeated court orders, he has not been presented in front of the magistrate. His family fears for his life as the authorities remain clueless about his whereabouts. In his last vlog, he said that he has been forced to leave the country as he has been receiving a lot of threats, but he will keep speaking the truth. Even children are not being spared by the PDM government in what is evidently a planned campaign to spread fear and terror. Many children have been arrested and detained illegally for supporting Imran Khan. A 14-year-old has been in prison after the 9th May false flag operation. A 6-year-old was arrested along with his father for distributing sweets on Imran Khan's release. The elderly and critically ill PTI workers and leadership is also being harassed and abducted, putting their life in danger. This is to pressurize them to leave PTI through a scripted press conference. A PTI worker who just suffered a heart attack can be heard saying that he has a surgery scheduled for the next morning and the doctors have advised him not to leave the hospital, but the security forces are taking him regardless. Another PTI leader, Dr. Yasmin, who is 80 plus, was also forcibly discharged from the hospital and arrested. A series of fake FIRs and bogus cases have been filed against several PTI leaders, social media activists and ground workers to politically victimize them and force them to end their support for PTI and Imran Khan. Many are even being blackmailed into giving statements against Imran Khan, blaming him for orchestrating the attacks on state buildings and for inciting people on violence. 150 plus bogus FIRs have so far been registered against Imran Khan alone across the country under terrorism, sedition, contempt of court, blasphemy, and even murder. Many PTI leaders and workers' houses were raided at night without any arrest or search warrants. The police, along with unknown men, would not just harass the family members, but would destroy everything in their homes to pressurize them. They would even break their cars, and in many cases will bring down the whole house to punish these people for supporting Imran Khan and PTI. Many PTI leaders reported that authorities illegally sealed their businesses just to blackmail them into leaving PTI. Mia Aslam Iqbal, former senior minister Punjab, wrote the ordeal his family faced at the hands of this PDM government. 30 to 40 people entered his house and started harassing his family, including his 85-year-old mother. The police took everything valuable, including his daughter's dowry, whose wedding was in a few days. He also added that many of his family members' houses have been raided multiple times just to pressurize him. There are numerous stories of hundreds of houses being raided and looted by the security forces, violating all human rights. There are numerous reports coming out that women are being harassed in jails. Many protesters share horror stories of being threatened with rape if they come out to protest. The press conference of the Interior Minister of Pakistan, Rana Sanaullah, also raised questions on women's safety in jails. His body language and the fact that he had to conduct an emergency press conference after midnight shows that this might be a desperate attempt to cover up and preempt the horror stories about to break in the media. Women have never been so mistreated and harassed by the state for exercising their right to peacefully protest. Former Federal Minister and MNA Murad Said has been receiving death threats for the past few months and had to go into hiding. He also wrote a letter to the Chief Justice of Pakistan about his life being under serious threat. The President of Pakistan, Dr. Arif Alvi, also wrote to the Chief Justice of Pakistan requesting him to look into this matter. Just like Arshad Sharif, there are agencies out to kill him for being vocal against injustice and for his unwavering support for Imran Khan. At least 10,000 people were arrested and around 25 protesters were killed during the 9th May protests as a result of straight firing by the security forces. Hundreds were also wounded and many of them were critically injured and hospitalized. This included women and children as well. There are reports that political prisoners are being kept in barbaric conditions, violating their basic rights. Many of them are not allowed to meet their families and denied proper food and sleep arrangements. A former federal minister, Shahryar Afridi, is being kept in a death cell. He was not allowed any access to his family, and because of being kept in worse conditions in a death cell, his health has deteriorated. His lawyer narrated the ordeal. The abducted and illegally detained PTI leaders and workers talked about numerous stories of torture, both mental and physical, during their illegal detention. Dr. Shehbaz Gill, Senator Azam Sawati, and Halim Adil Sheikh were all tortured during custody. A PTI worker, Ali Bilal, was brutally tortured in police custody and lost his life. Another worker, Zakir Mardan, narrates his story of how he was abducted, tortured, and humiliated for simply supporting Imran Khan. Pakistan's constitution guarantees the right to privacy as a fundamental right. Yet, there is an overwhelming increase in the release of private audios and videos by the PDM government as a tool to blackmail the PTI leadership and workers. The Prevention of Electronic Crimes Act 2016 prescribes up to 3 years in jail or up to 1 million rupees in fine, or both, for making videos and pictures while the government is blatantly violating this act. Using the events of 9th May as an excuse to crush PTI, Pakistan's government is now establishing military courts to try the protesters arrested on and after 9th May. They are even planning to try Imran Khan in a military court, blaming him for orchestrating the 9th May attacks. Although he was in detention on that day with absolutely no idea of these events, nor there is any proof that he ever incited people on violence. These courts are against the Constitution of Pakistan and a huge human rights violation, as there is no transparency and the risk of injustice due to the absence of fair trial. Two major provinces of Pakistan, Punjab and KPK, are currently running under an illegal caretaker government. According to the Constitution, their tenure is 90 days, which has already ended. Even after clear court orders for conducting elections on 14th May 2023, the PDM government refused to conduct any elections, violating the Constitution and the orders of the Supreme Court of Pakistan. Democracy has died as there is no democratically elected government present to govern these two provinces. People are being forced to accept these illegal puppet governments. The right to choose a representative through a vote is guaranteed in the preamble to the Constitution of Pakistan. Pakistan's media regulator PEMRA imposed a ban on the telecast of PTI chairman Imran Khan's live speeches in August 2022. On 31st May 2023, PEMRA sent out another directive to media houses instructing in clear terms that Imran Khan's name should not be mentioned, his picture not shown, his voice not heard, even a mention on the channel stickers tapes was not allowed, which is a blatant violation of the freedom of speech. After Imran Khan's arrest on 9th May 2023, the government of Pakistan shut down internet and major social media platforms including Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. This left millions handicapped. NetBlocks, an organization that tracks internet outages across the world, estimated that Pakistan lost $53 million due to this shutdown in a single day, causing severe disruptions in IT services from banking to routine workflows. After the regime change operation, the grip also tightened around journalists and media houses in an attempt to silence them. Multiple journalists and media houses were attacked for raising their voice against state brutality and for showing Imran Khan's narrative. At least 5 journalists were forcibly taken off air for exposing the regime change operation, and many others were abducted, detained illegally, harassed, and tortured. A prominent Pakistani human rights activist and lawyer, Jabran Nasir, was abducted by unidentified armed men in Karachi, which shows that there is a complete crackdown on anyone who criticizes the blatant violations of all fundamental rights and raises a voice against injustice. Jabran Nasir's wife, who is visibly shaken, narrates the whole incident. He was later released after immense pressure from public and human rights organizations. Many media houses, including Bol and ARY, were silenced by taking them off air for showing Imran Khan's party's narrative. Today, the media in Pakistan is completely controlled to cover and promote only the narrative of the PDM government and the establishment. Imran Khan's name and his pictures have been completely banned from the mainstream media, which is a huge violation of the freedom of speech and expression. The PDM government is constantly using state media and official platforms to build and spread propaganda against Imran Khan and his party, starting from accusing him of blasphemy by putting his life in danger to running a planned campaign against him on fake corruption charges. The government also used state media to malign the Supreme Court judges. Live coverage was given to the protest against the Supreme Court of Pakistan, showing speeches threatening the judges. Former Prime Minister Imran Khan's speeches are banned from mainstream media, but his shooter was given live coverage on all major news channels. More than 20 articles of the Constitution of Pakistan were violated post-regime change operation. Pakistan's constitution guarantees the fundamental human rights for every citizen, including security of person, right to fair trial, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, and inviolability of dignity of man. Under the PDM government, democracy is under threat and rule of law is abysmal. The government is using state institutions against its own citizens, resulting in blatant human rights violations. Citizens have been denied freedom of speech, right to fair trial, right to peacefully protest, and right to vote and elect their representative. Courts have failed to get their orders implemented, and they seem to be under a lot of pressure. It is a complete law of the jungle, and it feels like Pakistan is under a partial law.